Hello and welcome to the show where we look at how business shapes our world. I'm Stephen Carroll. Coming up, India's cash crunch hits the country's massive wedding industry, but could be a breakthrough for new payment methods. We'll speak to one company that's reaping the benefits. Facing up to new technology, how paying with a selfie or a retina scan could soon become the norm. Plus, we'll be finding out what the latest roadblock for the Dakota Access Pipeline means for the US oil industry. First up, though, the effects of India's cash crisis continue to be felt. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked for 50 days for things to settle down after his government pulled more than 80% of banknotes from circulation. But the chaos around replacing the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes has hurt many businesses. In a moment, we'll hear from a company that's benefiting from the process. But first, Mariam Saab has been looking at how the cash crunch has affected India's massive wedding industry.
The big fat Indian wedding is about to get a trim down on the country's crash demonetisation diet. High-value notes have been cut out of circulation at a time of year when they're most widely exchanged, the start of India's annual wedding season.
We already had 40-50 weddings for the season, and now we are executing only 15 or 20 because the rest of them are either have been postponed or have been cancelled just because of lack of funds in their hand.
Life savings are ploughed into weddings in India, with a typical urban family spending up to 70,000 euros on celebrations. Cash purchases for wedding-related expenses are commonplace, typically drawn from a savings stash put away over the years. The currency ban now has consumers tightening up their purse strings.
What are you looking for, Didi?
Hitting vendors where it hurts most.
Small vendors, if it is a florist, you tell him that I'll give you a check, he will say, no, I don't have a bank account, right? So they look for the money in their hand. As in now, when people have money in their hand, but they're not able to pay, so they're coming down on decorations. So in that way, the whole economy, which is related to the marriage season, has come down.
Another casualty. Delhi's oldest gold markets have temporarily closed after tax officers raided jewellers across the country amid reports of a gold buying spree as people tried to turn their cash into gold.
So this process has been bad news for the wedding industry, but it's provided an opportunity for others. Mobile payments have soared since the cash crunch in India began, and that's been a boost to companies like MobiKwik. Upasana Thakur is one of the co-founders of that firm, and she joins us now. Upasana, thank you for your time. Can I ask you, first of all, what sort of effect has demonetisation had on your business?
The impact on my business, MobiKwik, has been immense. It has been exactly 1 month since the Prime Minister announced new policies about demonetization and how India is now going to become a digital payments country. And I can tell you that my team of 220 people has been working out of 24/7 to deal with this situation. So overnight, 86% of India's transactions used to happen in cash. And overnight, from hospitals to gas stations to schools to mom and pop stores across all the markets of all the cities of the country want to adopt digital payments.
Does India have the mobile infrastructure that's needed for your business to grow?
Yes, definitely. Couple of facts about India. We are a country of 1.2 billion people. We have about 650-700 million mobile phones in the country. And we only have about 1 million POS, point of sale devices, where people can pay with cards. So that should give you a very high level sense of the largest distribution network in the country is the mobile network, which is why mobile wallets like MobiKwik are center stage in India today, because it's very fast for people to get on board a mobile wallet platform to send or receive money to anyone.
What's the competition like there for mobile payments?
So there's definitely competition. In many ways, we are competing with various banks who are trying to also get their point of sale devices to most of the retailers in the country who were previously only accepting cash. There are other mobile wallets as well, but I think that the largest competitor for us is just cash itself. because like I told you, 86% of all our transactions, which is 1.5 trillion US dollars worth of transactions, happen in cash. And, we are trying to convert all of these transactions into digital transactions. Now, even though the government is spearheading it and creating policy framework which supports this monumental shift in all Indians, it's not easy because nobody was prepared for the scale at which the change would happen. So I think in many ways, with this wave of demonetization over the next 6 to 7 months, I expect that at least 35 to 40% of all payments in India will convert to digital payments, and just achieving that in a span of 6 months is almost like an impossible feat for a country of the size and shape of India.
Upasana Thaku of MobiKwik, thank you for joining us. From mobile money to paying with a selfie, banks, businesses and governments are investing in new ways to securely identify people using things like retina scans and even heartbeat data. The market for biometric technology grew by 20% this year, but its development comes with increased privacy concerns. Our reporters Claire Williams and Far Bouchrak went to meet some of the industry's innovators at the TrustTech Forum in Cannes.
One look is enough to get you through this security gate. Amsterdam Airport is phasing in the technology over the next 2 years. Passports will be checked once on arrival and then never taken out again.
Facial biometrics is unique, and in this case we transform documents and transactions into your face, so your face becomes your passport.
Next year, MasterCard wants its customers to start shopping with selfies.
So is it really possible to pay for something with a selfie?
It is, or it soon will be. It depends on the issuers offering it to their cardholders, but the technology is ready. So I open the app, confirm the amount and the merchant, so I click on that to say yes, and then ask to take a picture. And very important, I need to blink my eyes to make sure that it's a live person and not a picture that was shown in front of the camera.
Beyond faces and fingerprints, biometric data comes from eyes, DNA, heartbeats and voices.
People often say that.
Yeah, so the question is, do you use it for reading?
Keys or passwords can be stolen, but no one can pretend to be you. This payments expert thinks it's only a matter of time.
I believe that 2/3 of the world will ultimately end up paying with biometrics. I think the emerging markets will be a lot faster to adopt because they don't have our notions of privacy in the US and Europe. But ultimately, I think it'll also end up seeping by choice into developed markets. If I give you a lot more convenience, you'll probably use at least some of the time.
Technology that was the stuff of cinema is becoming reality. But we spoke to a privacy expert who says everyone should know what product or service they're getting before they hand over their precious biometric data.
I think we should be very concerned about who is collecting it, what is the primary purpose, what is the secondary purpose, how is that information stored.
For now, your biometric data is highly sought after. Companies are paying to access it. But give it away too easily, and like anything, it could lose its value.
Next, another oil pipeline project in the United States has run into trouble. The US Army has refused permission to build a key section of the Dakota Access Pipeline, which runs near a Native American reservation. Protesters have been camping out near the site for months. They say the pipeline would endanger the Standing Rock tribe's water supply and run through a sacred burial ground. The project could still go ahead, but demonstrators are claiming victory against big oil companies.
This is the best news that I've heard forever. Best news for Native people, Native country, the whole United States, all the people, because water is so precious.
This is just the tip of the iceberg of all the issues that are affecting our globe, our lives, our future here, and everyone's water. So this is a statement here that we can do it that should spread out.
Why then is the oil industry so invested in projects like this? Well, Kate Moody's been finding out. Kate.
Stephen, the Dakota Access Pipeline is a nearly 1,900-kilometre-long route which would carry oil through North and South Dakota, Iowa and Illinois. It's mostly completed except for a section that's planned to run near the Standing Rock Indian Reservation, and that's the area that's become a protest site. Like the failed Keystone XL pipeline before it, this $3.8 billion project would be a boon for big oil companies. It would carry up to 570,000 barrels of crude per day. That's about half of North Dakota's current oil output. Energy Transfer Partners, the company behind the project, says the Dakota Access would create up to 10,000 local jobs for construction and upkeep. The pipeline would also help support American oil producers who've been struggling as global prices remain low. Industry analysts say the Dakota Access Pipeline would save an average $7 per barrel of oil shipped compared to moving it by railroad. That will help U.S. producers remain competitive and encourage more pumping in North Dakota while decreasing the amount of oil the country needs to import from abroad. So what happens next? The most likely scenario is a new route to complete the pipeline that avoids that controversial patch. President-elect Donald Trump could have a say in how or if the Dakota pipeline presses ahead. Meanwhile, Canada has approved 2 more massive oil pipeline projects, a sign that despite public opposition on both sides of the border, the oil industry is unlikely to give up on its pipeline dreams. Stephen?
Kate, thank you very much for that. Well, that's it for this People and Profit. If you've any thoughts on the stories that we've been covering, get in touch on Facebook at France 24 Business, or you can tweet me at NewsStephen. Until next time, thanks for watching.